The Avengers have formed as Earth's mightiest heroes. The Hulk might have left the team, but they've gained a new member in the legendary World War II hero Captain America. And they're about to get a new member, but who could it be?
I wonder, man.
And welcome back to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Multiverse. I'm Flonzo.
And I am Jimmy.
And we are here getting back into some Avengers action with the introduction of Wonder Man and a couple other characters you're probably familiar with.
I'm excited to talk about this series of issues, specifically because I'm sure you guys have been able to piece this together. I am the less read Marvel fan here in the room. Flonzo has quite a bit more expertise, but I don't know anything about Wonder Man, so this was a fun dive to get into.
Yeah, actually, we've talked about this in past episodes. I read quite a bit of like the West Coast Avengers. That's how I first kind of got introduced to him.
Interesting.
And then I actually got like a what if issue that was related to Wonder Man that my friend was like, can you figure out what this comic's about? Because it was like a what if having to do with all this stuff about like Vision and Wonder Man. So I'm like, okay, I can kind of piece together what this is trying to say.
And as we'll talk about, all very intimately tied together.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That was probably like a pre-chat GPT world, right?
Yeah, exactly. I could have Googled it, but like not in my pocket.
Right. On an actual laptop or desktop computer.
Had to listen to the internet screech at me. Basically, I had to listen to Ultron yell at me to go on the internet.
So, Flonzo, the Avengers, they have a little bit of like a rotating cast.
They do,
Can
yeah.
you talk about that up to this point?
Yeah. So I think it's definitely worth you guys listen to our last episode where we kind of talked about the introduction of the Avengers. Basically, yeah, Loki tricked the Avengers into thinking the Hulk was out of control, got all these superheroes to come together, and they decided, hey, let's form together, let's be a team, let's be these great defenders. And pretty quickly after that, by issue number 2, someone had sort of tricked the Avengers into thinking that the Hulk had turned villainous. So Hulk left by issue 2, he was gone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Like, I mean, there's a lot of great Hulk stories out there, but I just want to hear the one where it's like, when am I enough?
I mean, I feel like the 80s had a lot of really good Hulk stories.
Sultry Hulk?
Yeah, a lot of the good, like, how the Hulk was a manifestation of, like, child abuse and things like that.
Yeah.
Some of the Hulk's feelings towards Banner were those, like, kind of insecurities.
Yeah. It's all very Freudian.
Yeah, very. I mean, legitimately, like, there was a time where they're like, oh, I forget what it was. I think it was like Banner's the ego, Hulk's the super ego, Grey Hulk's the id. I might be wrong about how that stacked up, but they tried to make those literal connections at one point in time.
That's fascinating. And cool. I bet that's a fun read.
Yeah.
So who's the lineup in this series?
As mentioned in the cold open, Captain America, who had been thawed from ice. And we also have Tony Stark, the Iron Man, the millionaire industrialist weapons designer in his suit of armor. We have the Norse god Thor, and we also have Ant-Man and the Wasp, who are an asshole scientist and his young wife. Girlfriend, probably at this point.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's the very short end. Again, I definitely recommend listening to our last episode on the formation of the Avengers for a little bit more in-depth a look at a lot of these characters. But with the upcoming Wonder Man show to date this episode, if you're listening to it in 20 years, we're kind of talking about Wonder Man and how he ties into some of the more robotic characters like the Vision and Ultron.
Yeah.
We're starting off with issue number 9, where Marvel proudly introduces Wonder Man. And it starts out with Captain America having some really intense PTSD flashbacks.
Yeah. He's got a lot of hatred for Baron Zemo.
Yeah, who, Baron Zemo's like a World War II. He was a Nazi agent who had killed Bucky. Or at the very least, Bucky died as a side effect of his machinations.
Yeah.
And, we go from that, Captain America, he's freaking out, thinking about, Baron Zemo. By this point, some of the villains had already started teaming up against some of these Avengers. So Thor character known as the Enchantress, who had gone off and like trained with the Norns in Asgard, who are kind of these like mystical entities within the Asgardian, Norse mythology.
Yeah. They're like the witches.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting them, sort of witches within Norse mythology. There's an episode we've recorded you guys haven't heard yet where we get a little deeper into some of that stuff.
Into the Norns.
The Norns and the Norny ways. But yeah, so she'd been trained as an enchantress, named Enchantress. She had a thing for Thor. She also used her enchanting powers to get a character named the Executioner. His real name was Scourge, which I love. You have a name like Scourge, and you're like, I need a villain name.
I need something a little bit more professional. Scourge, I mean, that was my younger years. Executioner. Now that'll get me a job.
And this is not to be confused with the Executioner who was a communist leader. This is a different Thor villain named Executioner.
Oh, all the Executioners.
Yeah, they were executing different copyrights on that name a lot. So anyway, they had teamed up. The Enchantress had teamed up with Baron Zemo, that World War II former Nazi who had been living out in the rainforest. They teamed up. They had ended up being blasted into space 2 issues before that. And I had actually just mentioned this to you before we started recording. There was another appearance by Kang, who, longtime listeners will know, Kang has made multiple appearances on this show.
Kang's in everything.
Kang is in everything. So this is just 1 issue past when the Avengers first fought Kang. And 1 issue before they fart.
They straight farted out Kang.
This is the issue before the famous Captain America farts issue.
Oh, the one that just stopped the presses. Nice.
But yeah, in the issue before this, they fought Kang. In the issue after this, they fart.
These Avengers, man.
It is a real gas reading these old Avengers issues.
God dang, man. Oh, that's funny.
So they fought Kang, then there was this issue, and then they fought Immortus, who is later retconned to be an older version of Kang.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, so we have Zemo, Enchantress, and the Executioner flying through. Is this like interdimensional?
No, this is just into space.
Into space.
I think it was actually an airplane initially, and I think Thor threw it into space, if I'm recalling this correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, now they're just floating in space. Have been in space for the past issue while they were fighting Kang for the first time, before they were farting any Kangs. So they decide, we're tired of floating through space, and the Enchantress decides this is a good time to use her powers to bring them back to Earth. So they go back to that base of Zemo's, which is kind of in the Amazon, where he's sort of...
It's on Yavin 4.
It super does look like Yavin 4. In that old Jedi temple.
Yep.
Which I actually kind of wondered if this was like supposed to be a reference to all the Nazis that went to Argentina after World War II. And kind of Argentina really does, the Amazon does spill into it. So.
Yeah, that makes really good sense.
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
So yeah, they head back to the base, and Zemo kind of reveals that he has this new plan to defeat the Avengers. So we flash back to New York, where we see the headline seeing that there was an inventor that was arrested for embezzlement, and this was our Wonder Man to be, Simon Williams, who, this is such a, in fact, we'll see a couple characters like this very episode, such a typical, like, Tony Stark kind of villain, where it's like this rival inventor who, because of Tony Stark, his company suffered, so he started stealing money.
Right.
Which they get more into over time. It's not super interesting how he ends up in that embezzlement, but he ends up stealing money from his own company, gets arrested for it. The Enchantress comes in, pays his bail, and they take him back to their Amazon fortress. Meanwhile, we see the Avengers kind of going through some of their day-to-day lives. We see that Tony Stark's gone missing, and Happy Hogan and Pepper Potts suspect Iron Man might be behind it because they don't know they're one and the same at this point. We see Thor turning into his alter ego doctor named Donald Blake. We see Ant-Man and the Wasp not being a good couple.
Yeah.
You know, she's trying to go out dancing. All he wants to do is his science. Probably should have just kept things professional.
Probably should have.
And then you have Steve Rogers, Captain America, just reminiscing about his dead sidekick, Bucky. Which, you know what? I'm going to do a hot take here. Bucky Barnes, more interesting dead than alive.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
I just think that trauma he causes Captain America, that regret, that, you know, him trying to overcome that, I think that was more interesting than anything I've seen done with the Winter Soldier.
Fair. I mean, maybe you know this off the top of your head, maybe you don't, but when was Winter Soldier first introduced?
Ooh. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, I'd say late double aughts.
Okay. So that was a long time.
Yeah, there was
like
a long time.
40 years.
Dead.
Yeah.
And I've read the first appearance of Winter Soldier. It had some stuff to say, I think, about sort of Russian oligarchs. But I think, yeah, just these scenes of trauma, this memory of the dead Bucky Barnes, more interesting.
Huh. Fair enough.
Argue with me in the comments. And like and subscribe. We don't say that often enough.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, and argue. Smash that argue button.
Then smash the reply button and argue with yourself. Practice your debating skills. Practice below.
That'll be great.
But yeah, we flash back to some villains who aren't arguing at this moment in time, at least, where the villains have taken Simon Williams and imbue him with the powers of Wonder Man with ionic rays. Which is very scientific.
That's about as scientific as the growing and shrinking serums.
I mean, really, when you think about it, it's like an ion is a type of atom.
Yep.
How does a...
Well, how many? I mean, you take about 1 billion of those little guys and blast somebody, he becomes awfully wonderful. It's like you don't know science, Flonzo.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So, yeah, they blast him and then kind of start testing out some of his powers. We see right away he's got some super strength. He's able to tear up some trees, smash some rocks. He's got some rockets on his belt to let him fly around. We also see he's got some invulnerability. And there's something else they gave him that wasn't just a superpower. Oh, I wonder, 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 wonder what? What's in my Wonder Man?
Well, Flonzo, it's poison.
Ah.
That's what's in your Wonder Man.
So Baron Zemo has poisoned the Wonder Man.
Yeah. He gave him a little default button to control him.
Exactly. So, you know, this Nazi, figuring that most people are not as villainous as he, thought that he might try and go back on his master plan here. So he made it sort of a failsafe that if Wonder Man doesn't do what he's told, he'll die in a week. So
yeah.
What he's having him do is infiltrate the Avengers, and we see how he manages to do that coming up next. They, are villains of this piece. Baron Zemo, the Enchantress, and Executioner stage a bank robbery. Mm-hmm. And it's one that's serious enough for the Avengers to show up.
Was this like a common thing that was happening at the time where it's like, we gotta get the Avengers. Let's set up the high stakes trap, and they came. Like, I feel like that's happened in several of the issues we've read.
That's very true. Like the grand setup, and it's true. Like all those, like, yep, the Hulk's a villain, and then
yeah. Like they play the same notes.
Superheroes are just super paranoid all the time. Like,
shit, is it actually a crime or is it a trap?
Yeah. Hey, you want to buy some Girl Scout cookies? Kang?
Why does that bald man with a fake mustache look an awful lot like the Executioner? I don't know, but I'm going to go help. Also, his blonde sidekick looks very similar to the Enchantress. Better trust it. It's just so silly.
But yeah, so Wonder Man comes up, quickly dispatches of them, and says, hey, I want to be an Avenger, guys. They ask him, okay, so, what happened? How'd you get all these superpowers? And he basically tells them what happened. He's like, I got him from Baron Zemo. The only thing he sort of changes about his story is he says he escaped.
Yeah.
And Captain America immediately, he hears Baron Zemo, this villain who's given him all these PTSD flashbacks. It's like, no way, it's probably a trick. And then the Enchantress uses her powers to make him understand that he has this like poison effect within him. Mm-hmm. So that he's more sympathetic. So the Avengers like, oh, that's terrible. Let's try and find a cure for you. So, you see, Dr. Pym, the Ant-Man, he's trying to find a medical solution. And I like that Tony Stark, he's just like, well, this, magnet worked for keeping the shrapnel away from my heart. Maybe that'll help him.
I bet that'll stop poison.
Right? Must be one of those metal poisons.
We could probably just
mercury poisoning, I guess.
Slow his blood down. Give him 2 weeks.
Well, it didn't work for curing my poison, but I'm dangerously low on iron.
That's funny. Also, Rick Jones and the Teen Brigade help out.
Yeah, they come in doing some, bringing in some medical books, which I like just imagine, like, Hank Pym's like, I don't have time to read this. Like, I'm working on this.
Literally, I am curing a type of cancer as we speak, young man. They're like, but did you know the heart has several valves? Did we look at the valves?
Hey, Tony, it says that your intestines are longer than a football field. Ain't that wild?
Hey, Tony, quick question. Did you know what the longest bone in the human body is? Tony?
Is it humorous?
Get fucked, Tony. Come on, Rick, let's go. Then they all chew bubble gum and drive away to their ham radio class.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't in the know about the Teen Brigade, they are a group of teenage ham radio enthusiasts who work with the Avengers.
Yeah.
So, they're searching for this, cure for this poison, and what Wonder Man ends up doing is kidnapping the Wasp and sending out a message saying, oh no, me and the Wasp have been kidnapped, which, like, I don't know if you thought about this. Why did the Wasp need to be kidnapped? Does that add anything other than this single panel to the story?
I mean, yes. I think from a story perspective, they're more likely to be pulled out into the field if Janet's there versus just this guy who they just met, right?
I see what you're saying.
Right, so it's like, I have myself, but am I enough? Like, if I leave and I say, oh, I got captured, are they going to come for me? Or do I need one of them to come with me to really ensure it's going to happen?
It just seems a little bit like that stereotypical damsel in distress thing.
100%.
In ways that, especially because it only really plays a role in this single panel of her, like, chained up.
In the Ultron stuff, she gets captured too.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's very, like, helpful that she can shrink in size so, like, people can just pocket her and, like, capture her. Like, it's just, you're absolutely right. It's a silly kind of foil for moving the plot along.
Especially because he's already kidnapped, and spoilers, you don't even see her escape or get broken free this issue.
No.
Anyway, so...
that's how important she is.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
She's just there to take verbal abuse from Ant-Man, apparently.
Yep.
So, they get kidnapped. The Avengers do come to save them, but this whole thing was a trap. So, giant magnet gets Iron Man, because,
Because magnets.
Yeah.
He's made of iron. If only there were a villain that could do something with magnets.
Yeah. Some kind of, like, a magnet-obus of a person.
Yeah. Like, you think it's neato.
Yeah.
But with magnets.
Yeah, it would be really neato to have a magnet-themed villain.
I wonder. Get Rick Jones and the boys. Learn all you can about magnets, kids.
Just see the Teen Brigade and ICP pouring over books on magnets in the library.
How do they work? That's funny. But yep, magnets are forever Iron Man's kryptonite.
Yeah. As Executioner's kryptonite is getting kicked in the face by Captain America.
Yep.
And we see Thor get taken out by Wonder Man, who just gets thrown into a pit. Thor does, and then covers that pit up with a boulder.
This was like one of the weakest parts of this whole issue for me, where it's like, how do we handle Thor? Okay, stick him in a hole and put a boulder over it, away from his hammer.
Yeah,
and then slightly remind people, by the way.
Which, to remind those of you who didn't hear our last issue, during this period of time, whenever Thor was away for his hammer for more than like a minute, he would revert to Doctor with a bum leg, Don Blake.
Yeah. They describe him as the lame Dr. Blake after 60 seconds, which is a very old offensive term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what I just said, but I remember thinking it was, I called it a bum leg, which that's also quite offensive.
Whoa, Flonzo. You really farted that one out.
Apologize to any disabled listeners out there. We are trying our best, believe it or not. Anyway, yeah, so we end up getting another boulder as Giant Man, or Goliath, I think he's being called at this time.
Yeah.
Throws it at Wonder Man. Wonder Man knocks it back to him. It kind of ping-pongs around and ends up smashing the magnet, letting Iron Man get free. Then you just see from like almost like off panel, like you barely see Scourge hit Captain America with a stun ray, which I guess Asgardians need. Then, Wonder Man starts fighting Iron Man and ends up being put to sleep. Iron Man ends up being put to sleep by the Enchantress. So now we have all the Avengers unconscious, and Baron Zemo says, yeah, now it's time to kill him. And Wonder Man's like, whoa, I thought we were just trying to capture these guys. Like, I like these guys.
I don't want to kill them.
Yeah.
They're kind of cool.
So he ends up releasing Thor from that pit. Then he gets hit with the stun ray, which, just ends up like shooting him from off panel. Yeah, so the Avengers are free. Like I mentioned before, we don't see how Wasp got free of her trap.
Yeah.
But, they sort of come to, wake up from being knocked out, and are able to, chase off the villains and save the day. But unfortunately, our boy Wonder Man dies due to the poison for him not going along with the plan.
Yep.
So, did it seem a little, like, arbitrary the way he died, like, in these last few panels?
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, they only did that because they were getting pressure from DC about the copyright on the name Wonder Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was originally going to survive this issue.
Huh. What was the pressure from DC?
They were saying Wonder Man's a ripoff of Wonder Woman, so...
Interesting.
Yeah, so I sort of, before it even came out, they were kind of still talking.
But he's not even like an Amazonian. He's just a cool guy with red glasses.
Yeah, they said it was copyright on the name, which we'll kind of get it into later. Comes back to bite DC a little later on.
Yeah.
This is kind of a different aside, but DC had also sued a company called Fox Comic for a Will Eisner character who was also named Wonder Man back in 1939 because they said that character was too similar to Superman.
Oh, interesting.
So...
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that one was even before there was a Wonder Woman. It was just they're saying, hey, this character is too similar to Superman. And this was, within a couple years of the first Superman comics. So, wow. Yeah, they won that lawsuit and then threatened a lawsuit here.
Damn. They hold their wonder dearly.
Okay, so that brings us to issue number 54 of the Avengers. So this one was written by Roy Thomas, who's sort of Stan Lee's protege. He took over the Avengers books with issue number 35. And instead of Jack Kirby on art, we've got John Buscema, who's kind of... probably around this time, he was known for his work on Silver Surfer. He was known for doing like a lot of like epic stuff, he did a lot of the Conan issues, things like that.
Cool. Yeah,
he's known for a lot of stuff that's kind of bigger in scope than a lot of the superhero stuff.
Yeah.
To kind of bring you to an update, because we're jumping from issue number 9 to issue number 54. So Zemo and the Enchantress, they ended up teaming up with a bunch of other villains and making a team known as the Masters of Evil, which included a villain called the Black Knight, who had a genetically engineered Pegasus.
Badass.
Yeah, and he is actually kind of an interesting character. So, like, we've talked in the past about how Marvel was just kind of taking whatever characters were popular and throwing them in the Avengers. And Black Knight started out as sort of a, like, medieval... I think he might have even been tied into... like the Camelot mythology, but he was sort of this medieval hero that they had published who became popular. So they made like his descendant be like a villain in the Masters of Evil.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And basically, yeah, that team up there ended with with Baron Zemo dying.
Okay.
The original Baron Zemo, sort of, if you know, Baron Zemo's like a member of the Thunderbolts, that's his son.
Okay.
Also, Thor, he ended up going back to Asgard. All the original Avengers sort of disbanded except for Captain America, who kind of restarted the team with a bunch of sort of reluctant supervillains, including Hawkeye. And another sort of big member to join was the Black Panther, who was like operating out of the Wakandan embassy at the time.
Yeah.
We talked about how the original Avengers had disbanded, but Goliath, Giant Man, and the Wasp had rejoined the team at this time. That's where we are when this issue number 54 was released. So we're still in some 1960s Avengers territory.
Hell yeah.
And we see him here as they're testing out the new security system for the Avengers Mansion.
So real quick, Fonzo, when did Henry Pym start going by Goliath? Because he has like a suit change that accompanies it.
Yeah, he does. I can't tell you the exact issue or anything like that, but sort of as time went on, I think they just felt like he needed something more Avengers-esque, I guess. And having two people with the same kind of power set, one being a weaker version of the other, because, the Wasp can fly and shoot little beams and still gets kidnapped nonetheless.
Constantly.
But yeah, so they're testing out this new security system, and then we see Jarvis, making this phone call, and actually haven't had an appearance of Jarvis yet in this podcast.
Yeah, no, we have not talked about him, but he's the plucky butler of the Avengers.
Yeah, who's being a little less plucky here as he's kind of planning their betrayal.
Spoilers, Fonzo.
Well, I mean, this is kind of where we see it. We see...
No, yeah, he is. He's up to something.
Yeah, definitely up to something. Him and Janet, the Wasp, leave kind of split ways as he sneaks into this alleyway, goes in through a manhole, and then he meets that there's a new Masters of Evil. So this team looks pretty different aside from the Black Knight, who's actually a different version of the character. He's a son of that more villainous Black Knight who had initially genetically engineered the Pegasus and all that.
Right.
They're working for a guy named the Crimson Cowl, and we have some other Avengers villains. We've got a Claw, who is a popular Black Panther villain, Radioactive Man, who was... he was a Thor villain and very much tied in that Cold War era, Chinese communist government made a man a radioactive man and sent him to fight Americans.
The goggles, they do nothing. Interestingly enough, Radioactive Man in The Simpsons got his powers the exact same way the Hulk did.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, got stuck on like a barbed wire fence when a nuke went off. Could have been a Radioactive Man. Different Radioactive Man, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they sue Simpsons for that?
I doubt it. But next up, we've got Whirlwind, who is a character I was vaguely aware of. He's the Wasp's driver, her chauffeur. And his power at birth was that he could spin really fast without ever getting dizzy.
Don't we all wish we had that? Especially as kids.
I mean, I think that's why we spin really fast. So initially he was called the Human Top, and he'd just spin around on his head.
Just breakdancing.
Basically.
I actually remember him because there was I don't know if it was like Captain America or Silver Surfer, like SNES video game, but he was like the first boss.
Oh, was that the Avengers one? It was like Captain America and the Avengers?
Oh, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first and only time, and then this would, I guess, be the second time I've ever had any type of exposure to this spinning gentleman.
Yeah, I've seen him in some Avengers, as like one of those like group of villain kind of guys. He somewhere along the way got more of like tornado powers, I think, when he first fought Spider-Man, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And then lastly, we have the Melter, who's another one of those, much like Simon Williams. He's a rival industrialist of Stark's who turned villain after his business failed.
Yeah.
How bankruptcy works in the Marvel Universe. You go bankrupt, you turn supervillain.
He's like, I don't got no money, but I want to melt it all. whoa, buddy, just calm down. But I want to go melt it.
Yeah, I guess his thing was like he got like busted for like having like inferior steel in his factories. So then he just decided he's gonna melt all the steel.
Oh, the inferiority complexes that plague these villains are phenomenal.
Yeah, this is what happens with a fragile ego.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just some of those guys who feel like they're entitled to everything. Hey, just because I inherited my father's company, what, I can't have inferior steel? I'm going to melt all the steel. See how you like it. Damn libs.
Own the libs. Woke libs, melt your steel. Okay. So Jarvis.
Yeah. So he encounters the Crimson Cowl, who reassembled this new team of Masters of Evil. And what he was... his role in things is he's giving the plans to the Avengers Mansion. So they're going to know where all the security systems are. They're going to know exactly how to get in and capture the Avengers. So instead of giving him, the reward money, he shoots Jarvis with a gas gun.
Yep.
And after this, we see that the Black Knight isn't as villainous as his father. He decides he's going to go warn the Avengers. But the other Masters of Evil suspected this was going to happen, so they ambush him, beat him up, and then just launch their attack on the Avengers Mansion immediately.
Yeah.
So, burst in. We have Melter fighting Hawkeye, Whirlwind. He attacks Black Panther.
Yeah, it's kind of at this scene where we just kind of get several vignettes of them using their powers and trying to like bifurcate the team. Yeah,
exactly. Basically, one by one, all of the team gets taken out by different villains.
Yeah. There's one point where Claw is trying to capture Janet Van Dyne, and she turns into Wasp, and he just like shuts the door, and she hits the door trying to fly out. It's just so it's not epic. It's just like, well, easy response to this, shut the door, and okay, you're out cold. Okay, I'll go ahead and pick you up.
All the powers and weaknesses of the regular Wasp.
Closed door will get you every time.
Yeah, in all fairness, I don't think I've ever seen that stop a Wasp.
Normally they get more angry.
So yeah, then the Masters of Evil, they have captured all the Avengers, and then we get kind of this grand reveal at the end where we find out that the Crimson Cowl who had gassed Jarvis was actually just a robot, and the true Crimson Cowl was Jarvis all along.
They introduced that there were two Crimson Cowls, one was a robot.
Yeah, there was a robot. Keen-eyed viewers might even recognize said robot. So yeah, that brings us to our next issue. Now that we know that the Crimson Cowl was Jarvis all along, let's see what's going on with this. So as we get into mayhem over Manhattan, the Avengers are being brought back to the Crimson Cowl's headquarters, and there's a little bit of a scuffle between Giant Man and Claw, but Giant Man, he's easily put back to sleep by that same gas gun from earlier.
Yeah.
And then Claw felt assaulted by the Crimson Cowl. When he tries to shoot his blast at him, does nothing to him. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he basically is at the point where, I mean, I guess it is the gas gun, but it very much, this scene does just look like he's just got a gun to Claw's head, is about to take him out. And it is it's a gas gun, but
yep.
I mean, if you just took this image unto itself, it looks like he's just got a gun to his head.
It does.
Yeah. So, he could just take him out, but he decides to let him live, even though there was that brief betrayal. And the way they deal with these captured Avengers is they put them all in a big H-bomb, mm-hmm. which kind of, I guess, probably pretty topical at this point in the late 60s. I did actually look this up, but it's probably about the time they developed the H-bomb, which... Those of you who aren't familiar, it's like a nuclear bomb that's has less radiation, more explosion.
Yeah. Big boom.
Yeah, a less sturdy bomb. I think they actually might have called it a clean bomb.
I think so.
Yeah. So this is about the time that we discover that Jarvis wasn't actually the Crimson Cowl. He was just being mind controlled, and that was just a joke the real Crimson Cowl was playing.
It was a MacGuffin.
Yeah. So it turns out the real Crimson Cowl was the robot. And I mean, I guess at this point we can reveal, yeah, that it was Ultron. This is the first appearance of Ultron.
Yep, Ultron 5.
Yeah. Which I wonder who Ultron 1 might have been.
Well, I think we'll find out. I think he iterates on himself, thus naming himself terribly.
Yeah, right? I guess it's kind of like, when those people like will reinvent themselves. It's like
Flonzo 2.0.
Yeah. Coming back better than ever.
This is Ultron 5.
This summer everything's gonna change. Flonzo 3.0. Okay, July was rough. Flonzo 4.0.
4.0 is coming out.
Jarvis, he was being mind controlled, and he's kind of buried under some rubble by the melter, but he was able to sort of dig himself out, stumbling through some alleyways when he's found by the Black Knight. And this is when we find out that the name of the Black Knight's Pegasus is Aragorn, which kind of love that callback to Lord of the Rings, which is a pretty new book series at this point that's really taken the world by storm.
Absolutely.
Also about the same time that the X-Men villain Sauron was taking his name from the Lord of the Rings books. So interesting that, sort of, and I guess this is that reality of these early Marvel stories, this idea that you do have, they're just reading the same books that you are, getting the same inspiration.
Same inspiration.
Yeah.
Professor X's best friend, Boromir. Jean Grey's parents. Frodo, Legolas, and our favorite mutant, Tom Bombadil.
That was Franklin Richards' superhero code name.
Hey, Tom.
Tommy B.
Tommy B.
So, yeah, Black Knight, he saves Jarvis, and then he goes to free the Avengers out of their H-bomb prison. We get another battle between the heroes and villains that's working a little better for the heroes this time.
Yeah, there's a lot of just them kind of equally trading blows and knocking each other out. The Avengers feel very ineffective in these couple of issues we've read.
Yeah, you get Black Panther. He kind of throws Melter into Radioactive Man, as Radioactive Man saying, soon you'll wish you're safe back in the jungle, and kind of problematic language in there.
He's like, at least lions are trustworthy.
Yeah. The 70s, Black Panther gets his own book called Jungle Action, which also comes off as...
It's a little...
Yeah, it does not age well, to be sure.
Yeah, it's a little, racially deaf.
Exactly, yeah. He's supposed to be sort of this empowered African king and lives in the jungle, but...
Yeah. They throw that around pejoratively.
Yeah, they do throw it around pejoratively, and I guess you do see the villains are the ones making kind of the more slurry remarks, and I think that is very intentional.
Yeah.
Very much a bunch of white guys with the best of intentions without a lot of understanding.
They're like, he's black. Black people come from Africa. What's in Africa? Lions, Kilimanjaro, tigers.
Yeah.
Well, not tigers, but panthers. I didn't see any tigers in the Lion King film. So.
Well, yeah, because that was the Tiger King, which is a way different movie.
It's a very different piece of media.
Yeah. When will they have that crossover? Lion King versus Tiger King?
Simba.
So anyway, we have some more of this fight. Hawkeye shooting Melter with an arrow. Goliath wrapping a Radioactive Man up in some steel. Whirlwind is able to escape to maintain that secret identity as the Wasp's chauffeur.
He's like, I don't want to lose my day job.
Wow. This is the worst idea for a side hustle ever.
I could have just gotten into DoorDashing.
Black Panther gets one over on his sort of arch enemy, the Claw. And at the end of the day, they are able to prevail over the Brotherhood of Evil. They learned the reason that Jarvis had kind of turned against them was that his mom was sick and needed money and feels that uncomfortable asking for a raise.
Yeah, and his reasoning's very silly. He's like, I figured I could do it, but y'all would thwart it, so it's not an issue. I know how good you guys are. You'll figure it out. if anything, they're getting taken advantage of, guys. I'm stealing their money. It's like, Jarvis, you're kind of a bad person all around, bro. Does your mom have health insurance? He's like, no, that's a scam. That's how the issue ends. Fucking Jarvis.
So yeah, then we do see that Ultron has survived. But what does any of this have to do with Wonder Man, you might be asking yourself?
Indeed. I wonder, man.
So we're going to skip the next issue that does discuss the death of Bucky. Probably cover that in a different episode. But this brings us to the first appearance of the Vision, which you gotta love this like epic cover with like this red coloring kind of giving it that.
It's awesome, dude. Like,
yeah, I really enjoy this.
I truly love everything about this cover art. It's just like red monochromatic.
Even the little like character imprint on the top there.
Yeah, it's incredibly bold and stylistic. Love it. I think this is like peak cover art.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, yeah.
And we were kind of talking about it. I feel like these are some good issues too.
For sure.
So yeah, we start with our first appearance of the Vision as he's kind of walking through this New York street, and it talks about the rain doesn't even touch him because he's intangible, which is such a cool power too, and it's such a unique one at this time.
Absolutely.
So yeah, he flies off. He kind of is spying on Janet and Hank Pym, who are having, another disagreement because they've got a very healthy relationship.
Yeah, she wants to go out for dinner and have him propose to her, and he's like, but I've got a germ colony.
Yeah.
I've got germs. They're spreading.
Yeah, he's legitimately choosing germs over his wife.
Yeah, he's like, the only bacteria in my life is you, Janet. I'll never
You're
propose.
the real infection.
He sucks.
Yeah, he really does. Like, it's interesting because I feel like they've sort of tried to do some redemptive arcs with him, but like you really look from the beginning and I feel like
it's terrible.
These asshole tendencies are there from go.
Yeah. Vision's lurking.
Yeah, Vision's lurking out in the shadows there before he comes out and attacks the Wasp. She calls him an inhuman Vision, so that's the first time we sort of get that name. Wasp then just goes into her wasp form, slips through the keyhole, but that's no problem for Vision because he can just phase through the wall there.
Yeah.
And then we see him just start glitching out. Meanwhile, we have Giant Man. He is kind of King Kong's his way up the building after she sort of alerts him with a
like a
alarm kind of thing.
Alarm transmitter thing.
Yeah.
I love this like series of panels though, because like he's like climbing. He's like, oh shit, people can see me. And this guy's like, oh, don't worry, honey. He's like holding his wife who's passing out. He's like, it's just a hallucination.
Yeah.
That Giant Man, he's not actually there. It's just a shared hallucination, my dear.
But you'd think, I mean, they live in the same building. They're here.
But like to live in this age of the Marvels, sure.
Yeah.
I believe in shared hallucinations. That's fine. How many times has that been sold to the citizens? Oh, dang, another gas leak in the building.
No, I do think about that often. Like, how much of this cosmic level knowledge these superheroes have that, like, the average citizen doesn't know? It is. I've said it before, and to say it again here, I do love this kind of thing, though, like, where you see what the average person is, like, perceiving of these, big events. I think it grounds it in a way that makes it more satisfying.
Yeah. So Goliath punches through the apartment window, which I thought was very funny, and then comes in and she's like, dog, like Vision opened the window. Why would you just break through it? That was a funny exchange.
So then we move to another couple who is planning to go on a date. We've got Hawkeye and Black Widow here, which, these two actually have a long history going back with one another. So these guys actually both appeared as Iron Man villains initially.
Oh, both of them did?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, originally, like, Black Widow, she was, like the Soviet spy who was like trying to take out Tony Stark. Yeah. And then Hawkeye, he's like this circus performer, like trick arrow guy. And no one cares about trick arrow guys now that you have Iron Man flying around in his fancy armor. So
I just feel like there's so much you could say there. I mean,
Yeah.
my heart goes out to all the Trick Arrow performers.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, in like the 1960s, like it is legit commentary on like what's happening, like the like phasing out of those sort of circus sideshow kind of performances and
Very much so.
the rise of technology, really.
Yeah.
So Hawkeye, being the savvy guy of the times he is, he's like, all right, this is what it takes. I'll start dressing up in an outfit, become a superhero. Takes out like this guy who's robbing a bunch of jewels, and he's like, check him out, like, wow, this guy got a nice haul. And the police are like, oh, look, the guy's got an accomplice. Go after him.
Shit, what Trick Arrow do I have?
Yeah.
He's like, immediate disguise, shoots himself.
Ah! Rogue Arrow!
That was the poison tip frog arrow.
So, that happened between panels, but we knew what happened.
Yes. Yeah.
And then Black Widow came and like picked him up, and he like fell for her instantly. And she's like, oh, you got to help me fight Iron Man. And so he actually like kind of started out as like that villain who did want to be a superhero initially and ended up kind of going more that route, ends up turning her more towards a heroic lifestyle.
Rehabilitated her.
Exactly.
Her deep Russian programming.
Yeah, basically. And it very much is written that way. In fact, they actually, like, once she started kind of working against Russia, they, like, brainwash her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she ends up working for S.H.I.E.L.D. when he encounters her here.
Dude, honestly, I had never seen this Black Widow costume before.
Yeah, same.
Like this OG, like, almost looks like OG Catwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah, just standing on the ceiling. You never seen a spider on the roof before? You just walk in and there's a woman on the ceiling just standing vertical.
Yeah, which actually that's another thing I've never seen. And they sort of imply this is like a power she'd used once before. Yeah. But yeah, they do have a similar kind of exchange to Hank and Janet, where it's just sort of like, hey, let's go on a date.
Yeah.
He's busy too because he gets this emergency call from the Avengers.
Yeah. So he has to flee, leaving her disappointed and unfulfilled. And then it cuts to T'Challa walking in the street.
Yeah, he's just kind of reflecting on, he's like, how much good am I doing, of this? Almost lamenting that he's not able to help these everyday people more.
Yeah.
When he sees this, criminal or mugger rob a guy, try to escape with the money, jumps in his car, and then he just takes him out like it's no problem. And then you do see this kind of neat scene where it's like, he kind of takes out this, couple of white criminal, or I guess it's just
a white criminal.
Yeah, a white criminal in this like black neighborhood with this black cop. And, I think, again, it's not the most like groundbreaking thing, but I mean, considering this is the late 60s, they're clearly trying to...
They're trying to challenge like stereotypes.
Exactly. In ways I feel like some modern media kind of fails to do. Yeah,
for sure.
So yeah, he gets the call a little late, and then they go to try and figure out what this thing is that attacked the Wasp earlier.
Yeah, and so they're able to find by using Hank Pym's wonderful toys that he is mostly synthetic, but human with synthetic parts.
Yeah, exactly. It's like synthetic organs, but everything's made to be superhuman.
Yeah,
or
It's
superhuman
resemble
and
human
very
anatomy.
human. Yeah.
Yes. Superhuman.
Yeah, so the Vision, he kind of comes to, and he's fighting the Avengers, but, very quickly it's sort of, he doesn't know why he's doing this. He just knows that's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So kind of as he's sitting there thinking about it, he knows it has something to do with Ultron. So they know where Ultron's base is in that sort of just open area, which I'm sure there aren't many of in New York anymore. So yeah, they go down to that base, and Ultron's waiting for him. He's got some traps set up.
Pillar of fire?
Well, the pillar of fire in the very beginning, but then Hank, he just falls right into a pit where he ends up fighting like this giant robot, and the rest of the Avengers are just kind of caught between this, there's sort of the walls closing in on them, the sort of, I mean, this came out before Star Wars, but that same kind of trash compactor style trap. For the Vision, this isn't really a problem because he can just phase through the wall, and he kind of confronts Vision, trying to...
Vision confronts Ultron.
Yeah. He rebels against him, says he's gonna free the Avengers.
I thought this part was interesting because they like clearly arguing with so much emotion, and Ultron's like using that against Vision.
Yeah.
He's like, you're supposed to not feel. What's wrong with you? You're so wrong. Where?
Yeah, he tries to throw him into like this
vat of energy.
Yeah,
is what they call it.
Which, you know, he's able to kind of go intangible so it doesn't affect him.
Yeah. And then because he's so emotionally dysregulated, Ultron's like, I'm going to tackle you.
Yeah.
And Vision goes, again, immaterial, and he jumps through him and
just kind of slams into the wall.
Kind of explodes when he hits a wall.
Yeah.
Oh no, my fail-safe. The explosion button on the top of my head.
Well, you see, he is powered by propane, so...
By propane and propane accessories. Do you want your Ultron?
The crossovers you'd never think you'd see. Ultron buying his propane and propane accessories. Do you have any synthesoid parts?
Hey, buddy, I'll tell you what, man. I got synthesoids. I got mandroids. Got them, they know how to trigger me.
Anyway, so yeah, Ultron's defeated. The wall stops closing in on them. The robot stops fighting Hank. And then there's this kind of interesting...
epilogue.
Yeah. It's clear that that it is sort of like, oh, the head survives, so he'll probably come back. But then we get this, the Ozymandias poem. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survives, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them, and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains, round the decay of the colossal wreck, boundless and bare. The lone and level sands stretch far away.
What can you say about this poem, Flonzo?
So this is a famous poem, and probably made more famous by, like, Watchmen, the hero villain Ozymandias of that piece, who gets his name from this poem, which... also odd.
Yeah.
In the context.
For sure.
Reference to the Pharaoh Ramses II. But I feel like these two things, I feel like they are kind of misaligned in some ways, because I feel like you see the head and think, oh, well, clearly he's going to come back. But then, like, with that poem, it is all about this wreckage.
There was this grandiose person who thought so much of them and their accomplishments, who's just wreckage.
Yeah. It's poignant for sure. And I almost wonder if, like, maybe this was Alan Moore as a kid reading this issue, like, learning about this poem, being inspired to create that character.
Yeah. It's a good read.
So now that Ultron's been defeated, let's figure out how all these characters tie together.
Do you have a vision of what's going to happen?
I mean, I don't know. He is but an android, but even an android can cry.
Bum, 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 bum.
So we see, Black Panther coming to this meeting where we see that, Captain America and all the original Avengers are there as well to kind of decide should the Vision become a member.
Yeah, they're going to have like a little bit of like a... I don't know, it's weird. It's a group interview.
Yeah.
It's like, come interview at a table of us.
Well, and also kind of weird, like, the first step of this, it's like, should, this villain be an Avenger? Well, first let's fight him.
Let's beat him up a little bit.
Yeah.
See what he says.
Which, I guess does make sense. It is an important part of being a superhero.
Yeah. Can you defeat us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, before they are even like, can we trust you? Like, put up your dukes, kid. See what you got.
A little hazing.
So, the original Avengers kind of try their worth against him.
Well, it's like a lot of the same things we've already seen too, of like, I can't move him because his mass is so big, or I jump right through him because he's immaterial.
Yeah, kind of establishing what his powers are for those who missed the last several issues.
Right.
So Thor just kind of begins his lofty commencement of this meeting. And we get this nice page that kind of shows all the characters who've sort of been Avengers at this point. We have Goliath, Giant Man, Wasp, Hulk, Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver, who are kind of X-Men villains turned heroes.
Hercules.
Black Widow, Thor, Black Panther, Captain America, Hawkeye, and Spider-Man, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I've read issues like from like the 80s where they called him like a reserve member, which I guess probably goes back this far, but I don't think he was ever like formally a part of the team until the Brian Michael Bendis New Avengers run.
Right.
So I think probably he's a reserve member already at this time, which, yeah. Goes back further than I thought it did.
For sure. I didn't realize that he was in there back all the way back then.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, then they're trying to figure out, you know, who is the Vision? What is the Vision? You know, we know he was created by Ultron, maybe. What's going on here? So he gets this flashback of being created by Ultron. And Hank, when he was first looking at the Vision, had said, hey, this is some technology I was kind of working on, this synthezoid technology, you know, trying to replicate humans with a machine. He also realizes, I can't remember what happened to that project.
Yeah. So, and somebody says, I think it's Hawkeye, he's like, you've been using that dime word a lot lately, or something like that. That 2-cent word.
$5 word, is it?
Something like that. But he's
10-cent word. Never mind.
Word.
Man, inflation. Imagine back then. Barely get 10 cents for the nowadays. Anyway, interesting usage of Thor's power. He creates like this whirlwind of like air just surrounding them to fly everyone out to the sort of suburban lab of Goliath, of Hank Pym.
Yeah.
And apparently when they had fought Dragon Man, this lab had been totaled, but they get there and everything's fixed up.
Yeah.
And so, what does he call it?
It's like a memory retrieval machine.
Yeah, electric memory bank.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Chan turns on his electronic memory bank.
So, did I upload
That's a
it?
handy thing to have.
Yeah.
So, he had been working on Synthezoid, which I also want to highlight. Like, so Synthezoid was supposed to, like, work like a human in every way. This thing looks so not human.
It looks like a water heater with hooks.
Yeah, like, the idea of it being a Synthezoid is it has, like, human organs and things, but, like...
Truthfully, this is, like, if we were to, like, recreate this story today, like, this is an AI chatbot.
Yeah.
That was, like, put into, like, a machine. A very rudimentary machine. That, like, sneaks off and just reiterates on itself.
Yeah, and it's able to turn itself on, like, on its own, being the big breakthrough in consciousness.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, let's play, and just kind of, like, shoots him, like, calls him daddy.
Yeah, it, like, starts off very, like, infantile.
Exactly,
And then just, like, starts to evolve.
Yeah.
Like that one from S.H.I.E.L.D.
The Celestial.
Yeah. Similar vibe.
Yeah. Less mathy, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was either a recently released episode or an episode soon to come, depending on how things line up. But yeah, so he goes from like this infantile, you know, let's play daddy, shoots him, to like developing an Oedipus complex.
Big, like very much called out.
Yeah.
Oedipus complex, yeah.
So it goes from, oh, let's play. Now I'm actually going to try and kill you.
And now I've developed the technology from Men in Black, and I'm just going to erase your memory.
Right? So, I mean, this is maybe Ultron 2 where he has that. So, yeah, he blasts him, takes away the memory. They find him in the wreckage and are like, oh, one of Dr. Pym's experiments must have just backfired on him. Happens all the time.
What a goof.
Yeah. And then they're, kind of looking around the suburban lab, outside the flashback, and they realize that they had a memory tape for Wonder Man that's missing. So apparently they had recorded all of Wonder Man's memories.
Before he died.
Yeah. Onto a tape, which, interesting technology for that.
Did you rewind it?
Yeah, I kept meaning to, bring our friend back, but what's to rewind? So yeah, the mind of Wonder Man was on that tape, and apparently that tape, they realize, was used on the Vision, so he essentially is this, reincarnation of Wonder Man. He has Wonder Man's personality, and then they all decide, yeah, you know what? You've definitely got what it takes, if you're Wonder Man's personality, you're one of the team.
Yep.
And then we learn, even an android can cry, which is a great,
Again, it's just a full sheet panel, just gorgeous art of him crying.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it.
It really is. This was probably one of my first introductions to No, should I take that back? But this is an earlier vision of Vision that I'd seen.
Nice.
Sort of after this, like we had mentioned, the reason they got rid of Wonder Man initially is because DC threatened to sue over Wonder Woman. Fast forward to the 70s, and Marvel has a character called Power Man, who's better known as Luke Cage nowadays.
Yeah.
DC creates a character called Power Girl, who's like the Earth 2 version of Supergirl. So Marvel's like, well, screw you guys. We're going to bring Wonder Man back then.
You're going to play this game? Wonder Man's coming back.
Exactly. So, if you want us to cover some of those issues, we will. It's... As straightforward as this might not seem, those issues are more confusing, but
really?
Yeah.
How does Wonder Man come back?
Comment below if you want that answered, because it cannot be easily done here. It involves many writers who I think had different ideas as it was developing.
Interesting.
Is how I'll leave that for now.
Okay.
Yeah, so this I thought was a interesting introduction to these characters, especially Vision. I thought this was a really strong showing for him.
It's a fantastic Vision story.
I will say Ultron, I didn't realize that was going to be an Ultron introduction story. I had picked out these issues a long time ago, and I think I thought somewhere in the back of my mind he'd be in there, and was even thinking, oh, that robot looks kind of
Ultronish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, he was weak in this. Which
I feel like he was stronger almost in this story, like this issue with Vision, when androids can cry, than he was during that Brotherhood of Evil stuff.
Right. Yeah. I would be curious to know when he became so much more of a threat. Because it's even with this, when you read that epilogue, you can tell that they felt there was a lot of story gravitas to this guy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily come through.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, redemption is possible. And interesting, too, how these two incarnations of Wonder Man kind of did go through this similar kind of arc, of
definitely
trying to be used by the villain. But
yeah, it's also an interesting, creative philosophy of we have these existing stories and characters, let's just repurpose them into some other type of meaningful way. Rather than just writing Wonder Man off, it is kind of cool that they were able to kind of shoehorn that in as a story mechanism to be oh yeah, and also here's Vision, which gives the reader just a little bit more contextual continuity.
Which, if you think about it, if they hadn't killed Wonder Man off,
we don't have a Vision.
Yeah, which I feel Vision is a way more interesting character, being able to bring in that idea of the robot who can cry,
Right. Well, it's so cool because without the legal things that did, set the precedent for having to get rid of Wonder Man, they used it in a way to create a tortured soul.
Yeah.
Which is a cool fucking story mechanism.
Completely. And, as much as that did seem rushed, too, that does create a cool story moment. You had this Avenger who immediately died,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, man.
Oh.
Hey.
So, yeah, some lessons when you're out there in the multiverse to take from this tale. Sometimes it's good to trust others, even if...
they're trying to kill you.
Even if they're trying to kill you, that trust might just pay off in the end.
Yeah.
Also, communication is key.
That's it.
Just let people know what's going on. Hey, I'm being poisoned. He wants me to betray you guys. Also, very key, keep your memory machines updated. 100%. You will never be uploaded into an android body, a synthezoid body, excuse me, Unless you keep those memory tapes updated.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway, definitely be sure to like and subscribe. And on that note,
keep hitching.
Good